Hey everybody. Well, what do you know? I'm walking along through the woods minding my own business, and what do I come upon? A cameraman.
Heyo.
Heyo. We got Nick behind the camera. Alright, this is going to be an interesting video because back in 2013 I did a video, and it's the video that's got the most views of anything of mine. 655,000 views. Alright, it's not a lot of views to some YouTubers, but to me it is. But anyway, the video is Cheapo heated tarp shelter. Now, the biggest comment that I got on that is, what do you do if it rains? What if you do it snows? Well, of course, 100 times I answered over and over and over, same thing. I have a different setup. Because that one used one big giant tarp and a fire blanket. Okay? No big deal, C-spot run, simple shelter. I used it for cold, dry weather. Alright? There's another shelter that I used, and there are a lot of different heated shelters, but the fact that makes it an Cheapo, it's got to be cheap materials. And the one that I use for rainy and snowy conditions actually takes 3 or 4, maybe even 5 tarps. Some shelters you can use it, make out of one big giant tarp, and then because you can fold them all different ways, and then others it's just impossible. You have to have several smaller tarps to put them together in a configuration that'll work. So today what we're going to do is rainy, snowy version of the Cheapo heated tarp shelter. So let's get going. Anything you want to add, Nick?
It would help if it snowed down here.
Yeah, it would. All right, what we found here now, which is going to work good, is we got 2 decent sized trees. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to tie off on this one, we're going to tie off on that one right there. The first thing I'm going to do is a little bit of these small trees and vines and things on the ground right there, I'm going to clear them out. So let's clear, well, let me get the backpack off first. I'm going to get the backpack off, set it down right over there, and then we'll get to digging around inside it and see what all's inside here. If I remember right, if I packed right, which I hope I did, because if I didn't, we don't have much of a video. But anyway, if I packed right, we should have a killer shelter here in no time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear out some of this stuff around here so that we got a nice spot and we ain't got no vines, little bitty trees and things in the way. Took care of that.
Use that for firewood.
Huh? Yeah, got the firewood. I'm gonna get rid of this one here. That is dead. And I don't think anything else has got to come off of that tree. All these are basically dead anyway. That's good for that. Well, let's see. We'll get rid of a couple of these here on the bottom. Alright. Now, let's see what's in the backpack. Alright, we got our area nice and cleared out now. So what I'm going to do now, put this up. We won't need this for a little while. Now what we're going to do is we're going to dig around in here in the backpack and we're going to see what we got in here. Alright. Let's see. These on the old side. Oh, what do I got there? Oh yeah, my Baco Laplander. I'm going to need that for the firewood here in a little while. Now, what I have in here that is pretty necessary for this shelter.
Oh.
What was that? Did you fall over, Nick?
Yeah, I fell over. Let me lay against this tree. Get a better shot.
Pull this back. Okay, now this is something that's going to be interesting that I'm going to talk about. This is something new that I'm trying that we're going to look at. That, but not all of it, and this is basically all you need for a nice warm night in the cold for when it's raining and when it's snowing. Now if there's no bears in the area, you can, no problem, you can cook inside there. Now, I don't always advise an open fire in a shelter, but this is one of the few ways that I've ever actually seen that you can fully enclose a fire in your shelter. Now, the Cheapo heated tarp shelter, the original, the fire is outside the shelter attached to it. With this one, the fire is actually inside. And you can clear out a space and dig a little pit for the fire, or you can put rocks around it. So now I brought a shovel. Let's see.
What survival show is that we watched a long time ago, where they actually they found a very large tree with a hollowed out base, and they set up a shelter in it, and they had a fire in it.
Now, I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all. Now this is just a typical El Cheapo type shovel.
I remember the shelter over the night, it eventually caught on fire.
Oh yeah, I think I do remember that. I don't know, but there ain't no trees around here big enough to shelter up inside.
Oh no.
But anyway, this thing right here, this little jewel here, is pretty much just more of a scraping device than a digging device, because most all these are very cheap and flimsy. Now inside here, what we have is the basics of the shelter. Now, this is 2 reflective all-weather grabber blankets. And the reason I have 2 is because they don't make them large enough for this size shelter. You don't want a small tarp shelter that's going to be heated. It needs to be big. And right here, these are El Cheapo tarps. I think they're 9 by 10 or 9 by 11, I think. And I got 3 of them. And these came from a place called Ollie's Outlet. They are so cheap that they are actually cheaper than Harbor Freight. These were like $4 a piece. I think maybe they were like $3.99 or $4.99 or something. They're very cheap, but it takes 3 of them, and you'll understand why in a minute. Okay. Now, before we stretch that out, we're going to have to open this up, and I'm going to show you some things about what's inside there. Okay. About this little jewel right here now. Now, people have first aid kits, and then people have fire kits. All right. If you're real into shelters and shelter building, it's a big hobby of yours, you need a shelter accessory kit. Now, I've been working on one of these,
Fancy.
Fancy. I've been working on these for a while, and I've been going through different kits and different bags, and I may wind up, I think I finally have settled on this. Now, these bags here, everybody makes these bags. For some reason, it's called a deployment bag. And I don't know what you're supposed to put in it. I don't know what it's meant for. But as far as shelters, what I want to do is I want a kit that I can grab and go no matter what tarp shelter that I'm using. So what this thing is back behind the molly webbing, I have all of my stakes or spikes for spiking down tarps hooked on the webbing with some carabiners. Got a carabiner on each end. And then inside here, I have those bungee balls on one end. Okay. Now, whether I use all this on the shelter or not doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. I'm just wanting to come up with a kit that I can grab and go for any shelter I have in mind. And there's a bunch of carabiners on this end right here. Put them back in. Now, right here on the side pouch, I have a bunch of these shark clips for clipping tarps together. And then I have a smaller pack of these type clips. These are really good clips for like my carbon fiber fireplace. Alright. And then in the top right here, the main pouch, what I have is what we're going to be using today. Let's see if we can lay this on the ground. Everything I got in here. I got some paracord. This is some paracord that I'd already used. And then I've got paracord in lengths right here. I got more paracord here already in lengths. And then there's more paracord, huh?
You can fit a lot in there. I'm gonna have to move back.
Yeah. Yeah. See all this paracord I've got right here? Now that's what I have in here. That's what fits inside this thing. So that is pretty much my shelter accessory kit. Alright. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some of this stuff back in here. Because I think, let's put these in here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out, let's just set this over here. I'm going to start out with one of these. And then I'm going to show you how you wrap these around these 2 trees right here to start the shelter. Because this is the basis of the start of the shelter, paracord. Alright? Anything you want to add, Nick?
Let's get started.
Alright, sounds good to me.
Ready for a nap?
A nap? No, not till the shelter's done. Step one, what you want to do is you want to take your paracord. All right. First thing you want to do is you want to tie off on the tree head high or higher. All right. So let's peel off a little bit of this paracord here. We'll tie off that to you. Let's see. All right. Alright. Wait a minute. See, didn't tie it right.
While he gets irritated tying the knot, you can listen to nature sounds all around us.
Alright, there we go. Head high. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to come down to this other tree right here.
I think you were a little unsure about your height.
I don't know, maybe not. Alright, now what you want to do is you want to wrap around the tree. Now as you wrap around, your cordage is on the side of the tree, so what you want to do is you want to take your cordage, let's see, it needs to be reasonably tight. So I give a push and a pull, and then I put this around it, and then pull to where it's in the center line of the tree. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I use the friction of the tree to come down. And what you want to do is you want to wrap around the tree a couple of times. Alright, and then as you wrap around, you got to make it to where it's about shoulder height. See right here? Shoulder height. Alright, now once it's shoulder height, you're coming off the side of the tree. You want to grab your cordage where it fell all apart.
Good job.
Good job. All right, about shoulder high right here because you want a gap between here. So you come over to this tree and you want to wrap around it somewhere in the neighborhood of shoulder high. All right, get that good and tight. Now I think, yeah, I'm not going to have enough cordage. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to grab another one of those. Now what I want to do with this is I don't want to pull this over this ways. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap this around a few times and tie it off. Alright? Alright. So let's tie that jewel off, and I'm going to tuck the tail in through my loop. So what we have now, I didn't have enough to go to the other end. And what I have now is I have one head high in the center line of the tree, and then I have one offset that's about shoulder height. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take another one. If I had enough cordage, you can do all three and they'll be shaped like a triangle. So let's ease over here and let's grab this one. Let's see if I can do this without screwing it up. Alright.
Kind of like that not being head height.
That what?
Kind of like the top one not being as high as their head.
Right. Let's go around inside, outside, inside. Alright, the taut line hitch. And I use the friction of the tree because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come around to the back of the tree and I'm going to pull it tight over on the other side so that I'm going to wrap around and it'll lock itself in. So what I want to do is I want to be in relatively same height as that. And so let's come on down through here. And what I'm going to do with this, let's give this a pull. And pull around here, and I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the same thing. See, that was just the right amount of cordage. That is what you call a miracle. Did you hear that? There was something moving up in them trees. I don't see anything though. That was unusual. All right, you get the basic idea?
Yeah.
All right, so what I'm doing now is I'm going to tie this little jewel off with a loop so I can undo it later. And then what I do is I take this, I'm going to drop this through the loop and just let it kind of hang there. Now see, that's not good. Look what that just did. That can move over. So I got to
It's
undo
also a little
this.
loose.
Yes, it's loose. That's because it's
Okay.
slid. That is not good. So I got to redo that.
Sturdy.
'Cause-
That's-
Alright. Usually it's easier to do whenever I have one long piece of paracord. So let's give that a pull. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it around and I'm going to tie it off on this other side. And I think that'll be better. I am very sloppy with my knots. Always have been, and I just don't know why, but I just I just have been.
Bit of
All right.
a glare.
All right, now come here, Nick.
I am here.
Stand right here and aim the camera that way so that they can see. Get right in the middle of them.
Oops.
All right, are you looking now? So this cordage is like a triangle. You get the basic idea?
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the next step. Throw them over there. Then you want to grab a handful of carabiners.
So they
Like 6
care
will be
for
enough.
your eye.
Carabiners.
That was lame.
What?
That was a bad joke.
Oh, was it? All right. And then you want to grab some spikes right here. Stakes, spikes, whatever. These are the ones that I use. All right, now drop them in your pocket. I hope they don't poke you in the eye. All right, leave that other tarp there. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a tarp. Oh, and the inside of these, I wouldn't call them reflective, but the inside of these little jewels are silver, which is kind of neat. I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but it might. All right, so what we want to do, I have these things marked. Okay, what we want to do is we want to put a carabiner. Now I've added some grommets to these. The factory ones are the silver, and I've added these gold ones here. So what I want to do is I want to start in the center. I want to put this on. I think that's the center. Yeah, that's the center. All right, grab another one. Like so. Put it over here. All right. And you grab a third one and put it on. This is a relatively big shelter. Now you want the tarp. You all right, Nick?
Yeah, sneeze.
You want the tarp on one end over there to be touching the tree. All right. So what you're going to do next is let's grab 3 stakes. And let's ease on back around here. Walk around here without tripping over everything. So what you want to do is you want to ease this on up against the tree. And you want to pull this out. And you want to stake it down on the ground right here. Now this is going to work out pretty good, just like this.
If you can get it.
Yeah, if I can get it.
Come
There's
on.
a rock in the ground. All right. Now that's what you want to do right there. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to pull this over. And you want to stake this down to where it's tight. Now that's not right there. So what we may have to do, which usually you have to do, is take a small piece of paracord and pull this tight in this direction. All right. So let me grab a small piece of paracord right here. All right, put this back in. Now what I want to do is I'm going to tie this off like that. And I want to make it to where this is tight. All right. Paracord galore. I think people that have seen that other video are going to start to understand now why I have 2 different shelters. Because this is one, if you're expecting snow or rain, there's so much more setup on this. All right, so what we've got now is we've got it like this. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and move my pack and everything under here. move this all under here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stake off this other end. Hold on a minute.
Just gotta love vines.
I love vines. I love vines. Love me some vines, Nick. Man, it's right.
Kind of windy.
So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this down, and I'm gonna stake that off right there. All right, it ain't beautiful, but it's gonna work. And then we'll do the same thing for the other side. Now, as you can see, this is half the shelter right here. You can already see it's kind of big. It's big enough for several people, and it's safe enough for a fire. Thunder here and blowing this thing down. So what you want to do is tie a piece of paracord to this other end. And you want to pull it up tight. Well, that looked real good.
You want to make sure the paracord is on the carabiner as well.
You want to make sure it's on the actual carabiner. Carabiner.
I'm not going there again. I'm not making a bad joke again. I won't put our viewers through
I
that.
appreciate it. So what you want to do, yeah, it popped out from where it was last time. Alright, so what you want to do is you want to pull that around. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that around, and I'm just going to kind of tuck it right there, because when I put the next tarp on, I'm going to tie off to it too. So what we want to do now is we want to take the other tarp and hope there's enough room over there. Because a lot of times whenever you're out in the woods like this, a lot of times there just ain't a clear opening big enough for this type shelter. So we're going to find this again. And I've got my gold grommet, that way I know which side is which. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some more carabiners here. Carabiners. Flip this in. Love these carabiners. Makes for a fast setup. The hard part's tearing this thing down. all this paracord and tarps and carabiners. Alright, so we got 2 tarps up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie this off up here. I'm going to pull this up to right here.
There's that wind again.
I've got it to where I think it needs to be. Alright, we're good to go. We're good to go on that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hope that I've got enough room over here. These are all tangled up. Alright, I got one spare one. So what I do now is I'm going to grab this little jewelry, pull it out, and hope I got room here to stretch it out. So let's stretch this out here. Put it down here. Yeah, we got room. Sometimes you'll find rocks. There's a lot of rocks in the ground here. And I'm going to stretch this all the way out. And let's pull this little jewel down. Probably helps to clear out an area. Now what you want to do is you want to stretch out the bottom down here. Now that went in too easy, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an extra one in a different direction. And there you go. And then I take the other piece of paracord that I was going to use. Let's see. Take another smaller piece here. And then I'm going to tie this off and pull this out. Now I can see how that thing was undoing before. Just like that. Alright, Nick, you want to kind of kind of walk around a little bit and drop down and look under and look at the top to give them an idea of what the stuff looks like. All right, as you can see now what we have, as you can see what we have now is we have an opening right here. A large opening. All right. You see how much room is inside here? These tarps, I think, are a 9 by 10. And so, dare I say, there's at least 12 feet width right through here. Now, if people had to, one person could sleep on this end, one could sleep on that end, or one could sleep on that end. Or you could actually put 4 in here. And the fire is going to be right here. All right. Or, let's see. Now, actually, I think the fire is going to be at this end. Because you want it to be in the middle of these. You don't want to be too close to a tree. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to put the fire down here on this end. All right, next up, where did the tarp go, Nick?
Is that it? Behind you?
There it is. All right, next up, we got one more tarp. Let's see how that goes over the very top ridge line. So let's see how that goes. All right, next step, I'm standing right here in the middle of this thing, and this is a doozy if it's a windy day. A lot of times, I'll set up this shelter ahead of time to wherever I'm going to be camping and then come back to it. Because whenever it actually is raining or snowing, this is terrible. And the cool thing about this thing being so cheap is the parts and pieces are so cheap, you can just set it up and leave it if you want to. Because for the price of 3 tarps and a paracord, it's right at 20 bucks, maybe less. You could set this shelter up and leave it probably for a whole year, a whole winter. Keep coming back to it. Alright, so what we're going to do now,
the window could blow up.
The wind will quit blowing.
And if I would help you,
I'm going to throw this over here. Now this is the hard part. What we're going to do is we're going to set this up and hope it don't blow away. And what we're going to do is we're going to stake out the ends. We're going to run some paracord off each end and stake them out. Let's grab a couple more stakes here. All right, I got some more of these, and you got to kind of work fast from the outside before the wind blows this off. So let's go on out here for a minute. Let's put this in the other pocket. All right, let's take some paracord here. Let's tie this off.
I feel like this is a class in knot making.
I'll have a knot tie knot. Alright, there you go. And what we're going to do now is we're going to come down here. And you want to come out here, put one of these down. Now you could tie these things off. You could tie them off to these. But I tend to find that it's better to come on out about a foot. I'm going to pull on this thing until it just evens up. I may have to come back and retie that, but we're going to leave that there for now. Because see, the wind's already blowing, so let's move over here to the other side.
I think there's a good reason for you to use separate stakes for that.
There you go.
Or listen.
Huh?
Good reason to use separate stakes for that, I see, is because the wind might blow up under that.
Exactly.
If you had it tied off the same stake, then it would rip that stake out. And your whole shelter goes.
That's right. Now on this end, if you have 2 trees available, which we do, what you want to do is you want to bring this one up high. Just like this. Just like, maybe like that. All right. All right, let's go with this. Now what I want to do is let's go over here and pin down the other end. Grab another stake over here. Nick, there's a lot to stake. There's a lot at stake. All right, so what you want to do, I'm gonna have to go inside and around. The wind is fixing to get it. It was even windier yesterday. And I think, let's tie this jewel off like this. And I may tie off to this tree. Anytime you can tie off the trees with this thing, you're so much better off. So let's go up here. I don't even need the stake. Let's go up here. And let's tie off about right here. Now I may get more paracord and try to tie that other one off. Sometimes you have to stake them, and sometimes you don't. Kind of like sometimes you feel like a nut and sometimes you don't. Alright, see that? Now we're getting somewhere. One more right over here. Let's tie off this tree. Now we're getting somewhere. Alright. Whoops. Let's tie this off. I wonder if we're going to run out of time.
Tying a knot, that's what you don't do.
Yeah, that is what you don't do.
Keep tripping over this log down here.
You do. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to pull this. Let's go on over here to this tree. Right here. Oh yeah, man, this is working great. This is exactly how it should be.
3 out of 4? Not bad.
Yeah, it ain't bad at all. Yeah, I'm going to move that other one over there. I'm definitely going to move that other one. Even if I have to, I think I'm going to have to add a longer length of paracord on that other one.
The only tree I see there that you could probably tie off to seems dead.
Well, it doesn't matter. We're just holding up a tarp.
Yeah.
Alright. And now I could tie a third one off in the middle of that tree if I wanted to, but I don't think we're going to fool with that. Hey, we don't even need these stakes. I ain't even going to use them. Now let's grab a longer piece of paracord here. Let's see. These are longer. Let's use one of these. Alright, still got plenty of paracord for tying things off if I need to. So let's go this way. Hey, I ain't gonna need it. Look at that. Well, hey, yeah, this will work. So what we're gonna do, Nick, is we're going to tie off to this tree right here. No, actually, let's tie off to this tree.
Oh yeah, that's better.
Down a little. Right there. Perfection. Perfection. Alright, we'll tie off to this little tree. Now you got to be careful. This is one of the reasons why if you want, sometimes it's a good idea to have orange paracord. Alright, let's get a kind of an overview of this thing so that they can see what they're looking at. Getting a basic idea of this thing now. You're getting the basic idea of it now. You've got two pieces coming up with an opening in the middle and then a roof covering it. That way when you have the fire inside it, smoke will come up. See, I have an opening right here and the smoke can either escape that way, or that way. No big deal, all right? And you can have pretty much as big a fire as you want as long as you don't feel the tarp getting warm, okay? You're gonna be good. Now before we build the fire,
Here's the test.
yeah, here's the test. Well, with this paracord, it can just blow however it wants to blow, and I don't really think anything's gonna happen.
It's holding up. Especially now that it's tied off to trees on all sides.
Yeah, I think it's tied off pretty good. All right. Now we're going to do the end pieces. I'm going to show you the end pieces and then I'm gonna show you where the location of the fire is. We may or may not do the fire. If I do, I'm gonna put some stuff on to try to create some smoke so that you can see how the smoke evacuates in this thing, okay? All right, so let's do the end pieces next. All right, now on this end, you can basically do whatever you want to do. You can use a, you got paracord in the shop.
Yeah.
Here, come over here, watch that stake right there. Now on this end, you can basically do whatever you want to do, but I use these grabber blankets because they're so reflective. And so what I do is on these grabber blankets, the way they come, what I do is, let's see, I add ties to them. Some, what do you call this, grow grain or gross grain? I think it's grow grain ribbon. I'll add into them because these things are only 5x7, which just ain't long enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie these together. Let's see. Tie these little jewels together right here.
So why do you call everything little jewels?
Because it's a jewel. If it was lousy, I wouldn't use it. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to turn. We're going to turn the reflective side in. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to grab some of these clips. Now I may go back and use the shark clips later and replace them. These are for speed, these are for strength. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up. I'm going to eyeball that somewhere in the center line right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook this here, and I'm dropping half of them. Alright, then I'm going to set this up here, just like so. Alright. I'll drop 2 of them. And set this, come down here, tie this, clip this on. Come down here, clip this on. We're going to come all the way down here and clip this on. Over here, same thing. Put it on there. Flip it on. Now this one right here, I didn't like the way that is. You got to go up under. Now see, these things won't hold in real super high winds, but all you're doing is just trying to get it set up. You're going to come back with some shark clips and put the shark clips on. And if you got little openings, that ain't gonna hurt anything. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take these other pieces here. I'm gonna tie these on. Tie that together. Now see, that's already come undone. The first thing I need to do is put tarp clips, shark clips up at the top because they're so much stronger. They crank down. That's why they call them shark clips. You'll run them on and tighten these up. There you go. Much better. Tighten this on. Much better. There you go. Alright, now let's grab a couple of more. What'd I do with all the
The steaks, you mean?
grab a couple more of these.
Yep.
Huh?
I was wondering if you're looking for the steaks.
Yeah, I was looking for the steaks. Grab a couple more of these. What you want to do is you want to stake them down. Now this always seems to work out. When I talk about the head high and the shoulder high, this 5 feet here always just seems to work out really well like this. Have a little opening right here. You don't even have to use any paracord. You just use these, there's rocks right there. You just stake it straight into the ground. Alright. We'll pull this out.
Wonderful log in the way again.
Yeah, wonderful log in the way. Now this thing here, I don't have a grommet on this. So what you got to do is you got to tie this one off. Tie this off. I wonder how long this video is getting to be.
I don't know.
I'm doing everything step by step.
Yep.
Let's see now. Alright, so I've got this tarp. This. We're going to stake that in the ground there, and we're going to pull this over, stake this over here. Where's them clips at? Did I put them up? Yeah, there they are. I got to stake them. No! Alright, you want to take the excessive because this thing's shaped like a triangle. And you want to fold it over so that rain doesn't get into it. Like that. If I'd have folded it the other way, the rain could have got in it and caused it to get heavy. But this, I've got to fold up underneath it. So let's put a clip there. Let's put a clip there. And having a little opening on the side ain't going to hurt anything. Alright, so that's what you do. And we're going to come over here. We're going to put a couple over here. I'm getting low on stakes. Now the doozy part is when you go to leave, tearing all this down. And I think everybody's starting to see now why I have two shelters. Because the other one is just so simple. There's nothing to it. You can also see how adding this ribbon here, how handy it is to add that to these grabber blankets. Because as is, there's really not enough grommets. Alright, come out here. Take this. Alright, do the same thing right here. We're going to fold this over. Fold this over this way. Like that. And it don't always line up perfect, but like I've said before, we ain't trying to win a beauty contest. And there you go. We got that fold there, right there. There you go. Alright, now that's the end. Now if you'll see, shine it up here a minute. Come on around here. Come around here and look. Stand right here and I'm going to explain to you. Your fire is going to be, now wait a minute, the fire is going to be at the other end. You want the fire under this. So you may have to do some kind of adjustment. Because if you have the fire right here, that's not good because you'll still get snow and rain on it. The fire needs to be underneath this part. Now why it shifted that way, I don't know, because these are all supposed to be the same length. So probably what we'll do is we'll put the fire at the other end or we'll shift this thing. Alright, now as you can see up there on the roof up there, the roof is shifted that way. And it needs to come over that way by about a foot or foot and a half. And that's, you don't want that because like I said, that opening is over there. But that's easily remedied because all you got to do is loosen up the paracord on that end and pull the paracord on the other end. So that's what I'm going to do right off the bat now is I'm going to shift it in one direction before we go any further. Now as you can see right there, what I did is I just undid the paracord and I pulled that roof right over, all the way over to right there even. So that's very easily remedied. Alright, so follow me inside and let's go take a look. Watch this paracord right here. Now what you're going to do is where on the tree end you're going to leave open, and on the tree end is where you go in. And the other end over there is going to be where the fire is going to be. Alright, let's go inside here. Now there's all kinds of gaps and openings all in these ends, but none of that matters as long as you've got the roof overhead where it needs to be. Now, when I'm right here, I feel no wind. But when I'm up here, honestly, I feel wind. And I think that's because whatever wind is caught on these winds up coming up under here and it's funneled under here, which is a good thing. And you're going to see why in a minute, because I'm going to try to make a little fire right here, and then you're going to see how the smoke goes. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get directly under here. I'm going to clear us out a little spot right here. Now it's worthwhile to put some rocks around this thing. And we may put a few rocks around it, because honestly you don't need that big of a fire. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some of this back here. I think I am just going to put a couple of rocks around here. Let's gather up a couple of rocks. And then we're going to start a fire right here. Now tree roots are bad. Bad, bad, bad. You don't want to work around, you don't want to have a fire around tree roots. So we're going to scoot over a little bit until we don't find tree roots. Now what we're going to do here is I'm going to lay a rock directly on top of that.
There's the tarp again. See if we can catch it in the microphone.
Oh, I'm sure you can.
If I'm aiming it right. I don't know. See if you can hear that later.
Alright. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab a few rocks just for the heck of it. Just to kind of keep this thing maintained here in somewhat. Actually, there's a rock right there. Let's go pull that up. See it right there?
Yeah. It's a pretty big rock.
It is a big rock. The bigger rocks, the better. There's rocks everywhere. That may be too big. No, it's just perfect. Look at that.
Sure?
All right. And once the rocks get hot, they'll stay warm. So I'm going to put that right over that tree root right there.
Sure it's not too big?
I don't know. We'll work around it. I'm going to go grab some more. Alright, now I've just been out in the woods doing some shopping. I have my shopping bag here. A lot of times I've noticed for collecting wood, I got this old beach bag right here. And it's got the webbing and a heavy canvas material. Very handy for collecting firewood. Just throw it in your bag and carry it with you. Alright, so let's go inside. And we've got all of our rocks set up in here. So let's see what we can do in here. You want to switch to a tripod, or are you okay, Nick?
No, I'm fine like it.
Okay. So first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to lay down a little bit of bark right here for a kind of a bed. I gathered up all my rocks. I got my rocks in there. I like to have kind of a little bed to build my fire on. All right. Got some wood here. Put that right there. Put a little bit of wood in here. Lay a couple more little sticks of wood right here. Lay some of this over here. Got all kinds of little busted up pieces here. Let's see. Lay all that. That was a weed I found that I busted up. All right, now let's do something. What do we want to do?
Start a fire. I think the only thing we can do is start a fire.
Huh?
I said start a fire.
Yeah, let's start a fire. All right, let's see what we got here. I split some of these with my machete. See if we can make some shavings. Alright, that's going to be the one that I'm going to light first. Let's see what we can do with this one. Hey, just out of curiosity, I'm going to see what this machete will do. I haven't tried making any shavings with it. Oh, hold on. Put that in there.
I have a feeling it's going to break it.
I don't know.
No, you get a lot of smaller ones.
Yeah, it does. It makes them much finer. That ain't too bad. For a convex grind, the other blade's got a Scandi grind. Alright, well that ain't too bad. Well, let's go with that. Let's turn it upside down. Alright, I'm going to hold this over this. Then I'm going to start stacking all this little small stuff on here. What's that you always say, Nick? See, spot, run.
I'll say that.
Oh, that's what I say. Ain't it?
Sure.
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 And always remember, when building a fire, gravity is your friend. Now, I wanted to use this weed here.
It's actually going straight out that way.
Which way? Straight up?
Yeah, I can see it there.
Oh, you're right. It's getting pulled through.
Like, it's not going out the sides. It's just going through that hole right there.
All right. Now, I may have to get some... I'm going to break my cardinal rule and put pine straw on it while you're on the outside so that we can look at it and see what it's doing.
Yeah, it's actually got a lot of smoke right now. Let me go look at it.
Don't fall.
Well, let's see. Put something on it.
All right, let me let it get going and I'll put some pine straw on it. I want to make sure it's going real good before I let the pine straw kill it. Okay. All right, I'm gonna put some leaves on it.
So this is a big problem with this shelter. There's a bit of a privacy problem here.
Oh, is there? All right, I'm gonna put a few leaves on there, see if we can't get some. See if we can't get some smoke going. There we go. There's some smoke.
Oh, it's going that way.
See, it's pulling the smoke out. Now I got to be careful. I can't get the flames too high because I don't want it to melt our tarp. You getting some good smoke action out there?
No, I actually can't see it.
Okay.
I can see the heat radiating up.
You can?
I don't know if that shows up on
I ain't
camera.
put no more leaves on there.
I saw a
See,
twig
another
fly
thing
up.
is if you put too much leaves on there, it'll blow the little sparky things up, and it'll burn your tarp. See, I'm not putting any more because I don't want the flames to go up any higher. See, as is now, we're good. The flames ain't, they're not creating any damage. Now see all the little sparky things everywhere? Kids, that's why you don't want to put leaves on these things.
Heck, pine straw's worse with it.
Oh yeah, pine straw's terrible. See all the little sparky things when you go moving them around? Once you got a fire established, don't be putting that stuff on here. It is not good. It's a little bit of smoke. Did you manage to catch much of the smoke going out, Nick?
It's hard to see it from this angle.
Okay.
I could see it when inside the shelter. I could see it going out, but I can't really see it from out here.
All right.
Let's see away from the sun.
All right, now it's starting to smoke up a little bit.
Looks like it's going over there.
Yeah, it's coming out. Can you see it coming this way? See? Can you see it now?
Yeah.
It's coming straight up here.
So you can see the important thing is it's all sitting in this middle area.
Now, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but I can see it now. It's going up and out.
Or you can see the thermal radiation.
No, look at Nate. Alright, now for some reason there's some stuff in there that's creating the smoke, and I'm obviously seeing it. It's going straight up. I don't know if you're picking that up on camera or not.
Yeah, you can definitely see it. This little spot right here.
Yeah. Now I can see the smoke going straight up. Let me move right here. Now when I'm laying right here, I can obviously, that is a small fire, and I can feel a lot of heat. A ton of heat. Now if I wanted to, I could have moved this thing on back a little bit closer.
The problem is, you have unwanted friends.
Oh, is there ants everywhere?
Spiders. There's one there, there's one over there crawling on our leaf.
Man, that ain't good.
Now there's one crawling towards you.
Where's Jim Stafford when you need him?
There's one crawling towards you.
Is there? Oh, he won't eat much. Ooh, you're right. There is a spider. Look out.
Throws fine straw in the fire.
Yeah. A big old spider. They're getting the fire. All right, now.
There's one over there. Look at that.
Well, that's because spring is here.
That's about, oh, and there's one on your boot.
It's a good thing we brought bivy sacks. It's fixing to be time to break out the elevated beds and the shelters. All right, we need to wrap this little jewel up. So, hope you had fun. Hope you learned something. This is the setup. If it's going to rain or snow or whatever, this is the way to go. It's a lot of work, a lot of setup, a lot of paracord, but it is just, once you've got this set up, and everything is so cheap, you just set it up and leave it for like a year if you want to. You know, especially if you're on private property, just leave it set up. Have you established fire ring? You know, this is a fantastic shelter, you know. Add more paracord, make it to where it's tornado proof. It's a great deal.
Tornado proof?
Well, not tornado proof, wind proof, high wind proof. Now I can see the smoke going straight up and going out, and the smoke is not coming over here to the sides because there's no reason for it to come over to the sides. Look at that. Floaty right there. That right there is why you don't want to put leaves on your fire.
Oh, it landed on the rock. I was looking for it.
Yeah. All right, Nick, we about ready to wrap it up.
Yeah.
I know this is a long video. This may be longer than the flathead prime, but this is it.
Yeah.
You can pan around here for a minute after I sign off. Anything you want to add, Nick?
There was a spider on my leg.
All right. Well,
You might want to have something that hangs you off the ground in here.
That's right.
Because, what's that? I don't even know how many spiders I've counted.
The trees are right when you have hammocks in here.
Like there's one crawling. There's one on the bag there. There's one by the machete handle. I don't know where it went. But yeah, springtime.
Yep, that's right.
Allergies, spiders.
You ready to wrap this up?
Yeah.
All right, sounds good to me. Well, had fun. Hope you had fun. And we shall see you in the next one. Hey. You caught me in the middle of my salute.
I can't help it. They're everywhere.
All right, we'll go. We shall see you in the next one.
See you later.
All right, pan around.
Watch the spiders. All right, let's start on that spider there.
All right.
Oh, that's a stink bug. Oh, dang. Okay. You can see the smoke going through there again.